Are you thinking about starting a pet photography business? Or maybe you have already started your business, but you feel like you're spinning your wheels, you're overwhelmed, and you don't really know what to do next? Well guys, in this video, I'm simplifying the steps to do just that. 11 steps to kickstart your successful, profitable pet photography business. And be sure to stick until the end, because not only do I have a bonus tip for you, but I also have a video resource to help you do just that. All right guys, so first up, you really want to build your portfolio. The reason that I want you to start building your portfolio is because it's going to get you comfortable working with clients. Even if these clients are friends or family or acquaintances or people that you're offering discounted or pro bono sessions to, it's gonna help you to start to build out your sort of flow of your session and what that looks like for you. It's also gonna allow you to build a very comprehensive portfolio working with different dogs, different types of dogs. You wanna think about ages, sizes, energy levels, colors, fur types, breeds, all of these different types of dogs, so that you have, again, a very, very extensive portfolio, and it can really tell clients, oh wow, she can work with or he can work with a good variety of animals. You also want to consider, when you're building your portfolio, to think about photographing at different locations. This is something that I missed when I first got started, and I was photographing these dogs at a lot of the same parks, same locations, same backgrounds, and so it became very stagnant. But also working in different locations, different like color backdrops, different, urban sessions versus natural sessions versus water sessions. It's going to showcase your skills as being a more well-rounded pet photographer, and shows that you can work in different lighting situations, different locations with different types of animals. So that is the first thing. The last thing that I will say about building your portfolio is that, you want to have a good breadth of content, so when you go to launch your website or you go to launch your social media, you already have a ton of images that you can use to start promoting your services and your products. All right, secondly, you want to be thinking about a business name. And the reason why I do this second is because all of the steps after this are going to be actually setting up your business from both the legal standpoint, but also from like all of your online presence. And so you really obviously need a name. Now, I recommend, and guys, this is entirely personal to you, but I do recommend that it should be entirely relevant to pet photography, because it needs to be immediately identifiable. My business, 5 Freedoms, unless you're in rescue, you don't actually know what that means. And so at a glance, you're not really seeing and understanding that 5 Freedoms Photography is immediately a pet photographer. So it should be immediately identifiable, and it's gonna help you with search engine optimization, Google, and just being identifiable more easily online, which is, when you're a new business, your biggest hurdle is obscurity. So if you can immediately tell customers what you do, that's going to make your job a heck of a lot easier when it comes to marketing. So names could be things like, I know there's Floofy Studios, Dog Photographer LA. You could also do like Cute Paws Photography, all of those different names that are relevant. Now, a couple of things to think about before you do decide on a name. One, if you choose your name as your business name, then you want to go ahead and do research as to say if there is another photographer with that same name. If you have a very common name, say Jane Smith Photography, then it's likely that you don't want to choose Jane Smith Photography, because you're going to be competing online and potentially in your market with other photographers of the exact same name. Now, if you have a really cool and a very unique name, and you want to do more than just pets, then of course you could use your name. My name, Joanne Wetzel. You don't see a lot of Joannes, you don't see a lot of Wetzels. It could be a name, and I have done research on my name, so I know that I could use Joanne Wetzel Photography as an option. So just be thinking about that if you do decide to use your name instead of sort of a moniker like Cute Paws Photography. The other thing before you decide on your name is you want to do market research, and also research whether or not the name is copyrighted or trademarked. So say you want to use Cute Paws Photography, well then we want to do a little research and say, is this name already taken? Is it going to be difficult for me to get my online profiles and my website URL for this particular name? Is this name trademarked or copyrighted by another organization? Is there another business in my same market with the exact same name? At that point, it's likely that you don't want to choose that name, even if you really, really love it, simply because it's going to create create market confusion. If you and another photographer are in the exact same market or even in the same state with a very similar or the same exact name, people are going to get confused. They're not going to understand who it is that they're hiring, and that other business owner is likely not going to be very happy with you either. So those are some considerations in terms of choosing a name. So you want it to be relevant to pet photography, mainly to be immediately identifiable and to help with SEO. You want to make sure that if you're using your name, it's not a super common name or that someone else in your market doesn't have the same name. And then of course, we also want to do that little bit of research for trademark research, copyright research, to make sure that we are not competing with another big business who already has copyrighted that name and or someone else in our market who has the exact same name. So those are some tips on deciding on a business name, and I hope that you found them helpful. So let's move on. All right, now that we have decided on a name, we need to go ahead and determine what our business structure is going to be. There are two business structures that I'm going to talk about. The first one is a sole proprietor, and that is going to be one of the most common structures that you hear about, and it's very, very easy to become a sole proprietor because the barriers to entry, such as paperwork and fees to incorporate, don't exist. It's very, very easy to just say, hey, I'm a business at this point. The downsides to becoming a sole proprietor is that you're going to be hit with a huge tax liability at the end of the year. So 40% self-employment tax. So very, very high. You don't have a lot of tax breaks. The other downside to becoming a sole proprietor is that technically a sole proprietor lumps your business and your personal assets together. So if a client were to sue you, then they can come after your personal assets as well. But this is something, I'm currently a sole proprietor. You can start here, and then if you want to incorporate later to an LLC, then you can do that later on as you kind of get your business, set up and rolling. Now that's the second type of business structure that we're going to cover in this video. We're going to talk about an LLC. Now LLC is a limited liability corporation. The barriers to entry just means that you have to incorporate, you have to pay, fill out some paperwork and pay a fee in order to become an LLC. But the benefits of becoming an LLC means that you're actually removing your liability from your personal assets to sort of an umbrella of just the business. Meaning if a client comes after you, if they sue you for something or for being unhappy, whatever, then if they're coming after your LLC, then they can only come after the business assets, not the business and personal assets such as your house, your investments, your cars, etc. The other benefit of becoming a limited liability corporation or LLC is that there are going to be tax breaks associated with that when you file your taxes at the end of the year. Now, obviously, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a legal professional. I do recommend talking to those individuals, when you're setting up your business, when you're talking about your personal assets with them and deciding which structure is going to be best for your business right now. Now, guys, the fourth step is that you want to license your business where necessary. If you're watching this video, depending on where you are in the world, obviously that's going to be different for every city, municipality, county, province, wherever it is that you live. Just to give you guys an example, where I live, I don't actually have to submit a business license, but I do have to register my business with my county just to let them know that I am operating. And I literally fill out a form based on my city's website. I go on there, I type in, business license, whatever, that information pops up. I print out the form and I send a check, and that's it. That's literally all I have to do to be registered in my county. So what I would recommend doing is just type in your area that you live in and like business license or registering your business or something like that, and the relevant and pertinent information is going to pop up for you. Now, if you live in the United States and you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, I highly recommend that you check out the Small Business Administration. It's sba.gov. I'll leave that link in the description box, and it will literally help you, walk you through step by step of how to set up your business specifically in your area. Step number 5, and this is why we went ahead and we figured out our business structure and we figured out our business name, is because you have to, especially in the United States, you have to apply for a tax ID number. What this essentially does, now if you're a sole proprietor, let me first say this, if you're a sole proprietor, because you are not incorporated, I'm not sure why they do it this way, but you will have to use your social security number as your tax ID number. Now, once you incorporate as an LLC, then you have to go on to the irs.gov and apply for an EIN. That's your tax ID number, but it's also known as an employee identification number. And this is so at a point in which you have, employees, that is the information that you're in the data that you're going to be putting on their pay stubs and their W-2s at the end of the year. Or if you have subcontractors, on 1099s. But for now, you can literally, if you're a sole proprietor, you're not going to be able to go to the irs.gov website and apply for an EIN, because they're going to tell you, oh, well, if you are a sole proprietor, there's no need to apply for an EIN. Once you then incorporate and you become an LLC, you do need to go, and I'm going to link it in the description, go to the irs.gov and go ahead and apply for the tax ID number. You will need that information when you are literally paying your taxes and submitting your taxes at the end of the year to the federal government. Now, speaking of taxes, applying for an EIN through the federal government, because you're going to be remitting taxes to them at the end of the year, is not the only kind of tax or application that you have to fill out for taxes. Depending on your state, if your state collects sales tax, well, a lot of states are now requiring photography services and physical products to collect sales tax. So that would mean that you need to go to your county or your state, actually it would be through your state because it's the North Carolina Department of Revenue, through your state's revenue system, and you would have to apply for what is known as a sales and use tax ID number. That means that every quarter you will have to remit the sales tax that you have collected from all of your services and your products, and that is the ID number that you would use to remit that sales tax, and it's the unique identifier for your business. This is something that if you're not making any money in your business right now, say the first year of my business I made like $400, so that doesn't even meet the threshold for sales tax, for paying sales tax. But essentially I want you to be aware of this as you start to make more money in your business, and in a state that does charge sales tax, you are going to have to remit and pay sales tax. Don't overlook this, because at some point, if you do not do this, you will get hit with a huge tax bill from North Carolina or whatever state that you're in, and nobody wants a huge tax bill at the end of the year, in addition to the ones that you're already paying to the federal government. So just be aware of that when you are setting up your pet photography business. Okay, I think we're on 6 or 7, whatever. I've already lost count at this point, but it doesn't matter. So next, guys, you want to go ahead and open your business bank accounts. Now, do not skip this step. I know that all of this financial stuff and the legal stuff sounds really scary and really harrowing, and I promise it's a lot simpler than you might think. I have had friends who have never opened, or in their first few years of business did not separate their business and their personal accounts, and it was a freaking nightmare at the end of the day when they had to go and remit and pay their taxes. They actually got hit with a huge tax bill and lost a tremendous amount of money because they did not separate their business and personal finances. You literally, even if you're not making money, you can go to either your local bank or an online bank and you can open a separate business checking and savings account. Now, if you have an EIN, you can actually open through a bank like a business account, and there are benefits to doing that. There's like lending, higher yield savings, there's sort of other features and benefits for having an official business bank account. But guys, I opened Chime. It's an online bank. I love it. Actually, I have a link in the description. So if you want to open a bank account, an online bank account through them, I think we both will get $100 for signing up or what have you. Anyways, but it was super simple. The reason why I chose that bank is because I like the idea of an online bank. It's separate from the bank that I use for our personal finances, so it is literally entirely separate. And then what I can do is I can link QuickBooks to those accounts, and I can see all the ins and outs of my transactions, my mileage, and everything that is going on in my business because it is all separate. So I mentioned this earlier. Please, 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 if you do nothing else that I've talked about yet in this video, separate your business finances from your personal finances by opening a checking and savings account. I promise you, when you go to reconcile all of your expenses at the end of the year and you go to pay taxes, you are going to be so glad that you did it this way. All right, guys, so the next thing, now that we've filed for all of our taxes, we have our name, we have our business structure, all the things, is you want to go ahead and apply to get business insurance. Now, I will tell you, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, when I first started my business, I literally could not afford the $40 a month that my policy cost to have business insurance. But as soon as you are able, as soon as you can afford to get liability insurance for your business, I highly, highly recommend it. And there's a couple of reasons for this, you guys. The first reason is that, one, it just makes you look legitimate and credible and more professional, right? Two, if something were to happen, say a client gets hurt at a session, or you damage something at on a location or something, you have insurance that is going to cover and pay for that. And it kind of gives you peace of mind, but it also gives your client peace of mind. The third reason that you want to have insurance is if you are working for, say I work for, this is just an example from my personal business, is there are a couple of events that I do for a local shopping center here every year, and they require that I have certificates of insurance and I have them on my policy so that if something were to happen to me or something that I'm doing while I'm there, then everybody is covered and nobody has to worry about it. Now generally $1 million in liability insurance is going to be what they recommend for you, and that's going to be way more enough, and it's going to be something probably between $30 to $50 a month depending on your insurance company. And if you're not quite sure where to look for insurance, you can literally reach out to your insurance company for your car or your home and say, hey, do you guys offer business policies? If so, here are the requirements of what I need. What does that look like and what are the costs for that? And they will definitely be happy to create a policy for you. Okay guys, and the other thing that I want you to know about your liability coverage, and if you're not listening, if you're cleaning, if you're doing whatever, I want you to stop for a second. I want you to pay attention, because not only do you need that $1 million in liability coverage, but you also want to ask for equipment replacement coverage on your policy, not cash value based on an equipment's depreciation. Now, I'm going to say that again. You want to ask for equipment replacement coverage, not cash value based on equipment's depreciation. And the reason for this is, say you purchase a 5,000 camera, 10 years ago, and you're still using that camera to this day. Well, if something happens to that camera, say it gets lost or it gets stolen, what have you, and you have the cash value replacement on your policy, well, if that camera is only worth $300 now, well, guess what? You're getting $300, not the $5,000 investment that you originally had for that camera. And let's be real, what can you actually buy for $300 in terms of camera bodies nowadays? Absolutely nothing. So those are the two requirements of what you want to have for liability coverage, just so that you cover yourself, you cover your clients, you give everybody peace of mind, and like I mentioned before, you look way more professional and credible in your business. All right guys, now that we've talked about insurance, we are so close to being an up and running pet photography business. Now all of that legal stuff is out of the way, we can work on the fun stuff, and now that you've been building your portfolio, we can also start to talk about offerings and pricing. So what do you want to offer? Do you want to offer one session type with products included, multiple packages for the one session you offer with products included, mini sessions, or do you want to offer maybe a full standard session to every client like I do, where they buy a la carte items? Before you can figure out your pricing, you do have to figure out, what do you want to offer? And remember, a confused mind says no, so try to make your offerings as streamlined and simple as possible for your client. And once you figured out what you want to offer, I recommend that you also check out my pricing video here to help you out a bit more before you determine your final prices. There are some really good insights in that video to help you ensure that you are pricing according to your unique business and not the standard market rate. Now, to give you an example from my own business, I offer two kinds of sessions. I have pet portrait sessions and forget-me-not sessions. That's it. The pet portrait session is really my standard session for all clients who want to order a la carte products from their session, and it's fully customizable. The forget-me-not sessions are similar, but they're more designed for end-of-life clients and include digital files in the package fee with a slight discount to make those sessions more accessible compared to my full sessions. Now, you can certainly choose how you want to structure your business today and then tweak those offerings and pricing as needed. These things are not concrete, and as you continue to grow and learn, you can make those changes as needed. Now from here, I recommend setting up your online presence. So we're talking about getting your website up, your social media channels, your business pages on Google, Yelp, and other search engines, online directories, and anywhere else your business is going to exist in the online space. Now, the reason that I put this tidbit down at the very, very end of the steps to start your pet photography business is because there is so much that actually happens before you even set up your website and social media, but often people do that first. So it's fine to have these things set up and you're building momentum, but until you have a name, logo, offerings and pricing, a portfolio, it doesn't make sense to do all of that digital marketing stuff first, because it detracts from what you should actually be doing to start and build your business. Now friends, at this point your business is ready to rock and roll. You've got your legal and financial ducks in a row. You've got your portfolio built and you're continued to building. You know what your offerings are and your pricing, and you've got your online presence ready to go. So that bonus tip that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, put all of your efforts into marketing yourself. Without marketing, there will be no clients. Marketing is the number one thing that will drive and propel your business forward and to be successful and profitable. So you should be marketing your business on multiple channels at one time, including in-person and online. So some examples include hosting model calls, social media, vendor events, networking events, blogging, search engine optimization, and more. Now, if you want to learn 5 smart ways to market your pet photography business from a working pet photographer, then I want you to go ahead and check out this video here.